So I want to talk briefly about thinking about yourself as an alligator and other people as an alligator when you're in any type of defense state or other people are in a defense state. And I'm sure I've made this video before, but I can't find it anywhere and I wanted to send it to someone, so I'm just remaking it. Basically, when you're in a defense state, you do not have access to your executive functioning. So, a lot of us can be really self-critical of ourselves when we are acting outside of our values. Um, Even people can be self-critical when they're like, well, fear was making me do it. So it's somehow like less valid, or like we should be able to override fear. But what I want people to know is that the defense state, whether it's fight, flight, freeze, fawn, or flop, all of them are triggered subconsciously. They are not intentional. So we don't go into fight, flight, or freeze, fawn, or flop um, because we choose to. And we can't control whether these defense um, mechanisms get put into play. It is the vagus nerve's job to scan both outside of our bodies via our senses and via social cues, and inside of our body via feedback from our various organs and our heart and lungs and our digestive system, whether things are safe or not. And there, all of that information is being compared and contrasted with our own personal history, what was dangerous, and then at least 7 generations back, according to epigenetics. And all of this is happening all of the time subconsciously. And it is not our job to eliminate the defense response. Our opportunity, because you can't eliminate the defense response, but the opportunity is to learn how to understand it. So if I find myself going into more of an alligator response. So I'm going into a defense response. I'm going to consider that I only have the skills and tools of an alligator, which are to fight, flight, freeze, or flop. Alligators don't usually try to fawn. That's more of a mammalian response. Um, so if I'm in a defense state, my job is not to like stop myself from being a defense state. My job is to just understand what's going on and to take care of myself accordingly. So if I notice that I'm in an alligator state, I am going to first and foremost look around me and see if there's anybody in danger. If you go out in the wild and you see an alligator and they're like right next to your kid, you're going to pick up your kid and move your kid, right? So if I see that there's anyone who's vulnerable around me and I know that I've gone into a defense state, I'm going to remove myself first and foremost so that I can reduce any harm that I might do. Now, of course, there are going to be times when I just go into a defense state and I'm going to end up hurting someone. And so my opportunity there is to understand why I went into the defense state, support myself so I'm less likely to do that again, and reconnect with that human and repair that relationship, or any being that you have done that harm to. Uh, Lots of studies have shown that rupture and then repair in relationships is actually a really positive thing. Obviously, I'm not saying that like if you're just like biting people's heads off with your emotional outbursts or your language, or even hurting people or destroying property, that's not that's like great for a relationship. But if you're doing something like here and there and realizing that you want to support yourself in making sure that you act more according to your values and you're willing to connect with your relationships and your relationships are willing to stay connected with you, then that can be it's not the end of the world if we mess up because we're going to mess up, right? Um, so vice versa, when somebody else goes into an alligator state or a defense state, I'm not going to ask them to talk things through or to understand my perspective or to act differently. my opportunity in that instance is just like I would take the little kid away from the alligator or remove myself from the alligator, I'm going to remove myself from the person. And there's all sorts of great skills that I've learned from something called dialectical behavioral therapy around interpersonal effectiveness that can support you if you're trying to get out of a scenario in which someone's an alligator. So if you can gracefully be like, hey, something has come up and I need to switch gears, that's great. If you're not able to, you can use a variety of strategies. One that is my most favorite is to say that you have a bathroom emergency. It is, in my experience, that no one has ever denied me the right to go to the bathroom if I say I have a bathroom emergency. And bathroom emergency for me is not a lie because for me, bathroom emergency can mean like I'm scared that you've become an alligator and I'm gonna go buy myself some time and figure out some options in the bathroom for a moment. Or I am noticing that I have become an alligator and I am going to keep you safe by going into the bathroom so that I can support myself and making sure I don't do any harm. So that fits under the definition of bathroom emergency to me. And have used that one very successfully in work environments, in really difficult relationship interactions. It works in person or on the phone. I need to get off the phone right now because I have a bathroom emergency, and I will reconnect with you. And then I can support myself with some nervous system exercise and I can reconnect in a way that feels safer. Obviously, if you're ever in physical harm, we're not going to try to like use strategies. You just get yourself safe, however, you can get yourself safe. But if you're in a situation where it's about verbal communication, um, and you feel like you can get yourself to a bathroom, great. If you need to, say, oh, I just remembered, like, I have to go do this thing for work and get yourself out of there. If you're in a work situation, again, do whatever works for that. But another nice skill is called the broken record from distress tolerance and not from dialectical behavioral therapy. And you can just say to the person that you're interacting with, like, hey, I hear you and I'm going to think about it. Or I hear you and I'm going in a different direction. And you just keep repeating the phrase, um, whatever is applicable to the situation that sort of like respectfully says, thanks, but I'm going to agree to disagree. This can be really hard if somebody else is in an alligator state. They can push really hard to try to get you to stay in conversation. But if someone's an alligator, then they're just not going to be able to have a rational conversation with you. And expecting people to consider your feelings or to respect your boundaries or to be kind to you when they're in an alligator state is really it's an unkindness from you because you're asking them to do something that they don't have access to in their brain. And other people's behavior is not our business, ultimately. When other people are harming us, our business is to figure out a way to take care of ourselves. And I'm not downplaying how difficult that can be at times. Um, but I am a person who, did have to do some pretty extreme things to support myself in some difficult relationships. And again, I'm not saying it's easy, but I am saying that ultimately, if other people are harming me, it is my responsibility to reach out for help in making sure that I can remove myself from that situation. And I'm not going to ask someone who's in an alligator state to act any differently because as Byron Katie would say, their brain is confused. It's offline at that point. It's like if someone was drunk, I'm not going to ask them to not act drunk. Um, so, anyways, I just wanted to offer that analogy because I feel like it's really helpful for us to be more respectful of what we are experiencing and what other people are experiencing, and to adjust our expectations of our own and other people's behavior by understanding that you're physically incapable of being rational when you're in a defense state. And it is not our job to move other people out of a defense state. Um, it is our job to support ourselves with that, but other people's behavior is their business, and our business is taking care of ourselves. So, anyways, love you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.